I want to bring in Republican Congressman Tim Burchett from Tennessee. He is on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, good morning to you as always. So what are your inside sources telling you? Is he going to be a no-show?
Yeah, he's going to be a no-show. I don't think he wants to face us. He's got no excuse. This thing was a disaster. As you know, the sniper had the suicide bomber in his sights not once, but two different times. They had the guy perfectly ID'd, and this was in sworn testimony. And 13 brave Americans lost their lives, and they're going to have to account for that, which they won't. I think this administration is clearly checked out, as is the chief executive, our president. And I think you'll continue to see this type of activity to run the clock out.
And if Blinken does in fact not show up today, you're holding to your word, Republicans holding to their word to hold him in contempt of Congress?
I would vote to do that. It's not my decision, but yes, ma'am. I think there's enough of us that believe that, you know, at some point somebody has to be held accountable. Where does the buck stop? And it obviously doesn't stop anywhere in this administration because they keep kicking the can down the road. He's got time to go hobnob with the bigwigs at the United Nations and talk about all these platitudes that do not exist, and putting control over people that we have no control over. But he doesn't have time to address Congress. To me, that there's no defense of that.
And if you do move forward in holding him in contempt of Congress, that'll ultimately be up to the Biden-Harris Department of Justice to prosecute him, right? What do you tell people who say, you know, that's a fool's errand, this is all political theater right now in an election year?
Well, it's really the only card we have, ma'am. He is in the position where he should have to come to speak to Congress. And I think it's just going to show the American public whether we've got the guts to do something or not. It's always political theater when you run every 2 years. And this whole town is political theater. It's a hoax upon the taxpayers. And when you have 15% of the population vote, this is what you get. You don't get a government that's very receptive to the people. And that's really the only card we have left, ma'am.
What message will that send to the American people, and not only, you know, voters right now, but also military families who lost a loved one in the withdrawal if he decides not to attend?
I think that it shows that we have taken this serious and we are continuing to take it serious. I had dinner last night with Representative Anna Polana Luna and Staff Sergeant Ryan Canals, who was the last person to die in Afghanistan, with his mama last night. And, you know, and this type of thing is important to those families. And if it's important to 13 families who lost their brave loved ones, then I think it's well served, regardless of all of the surroundings and the time of year and the politics of it. But both parties have got to come together on this type of thing, because this is ridiculous. Because if we're back in power and we say we're not bringing it, it's just as bad. And so I think somebody needs to be held accountable, ma'am. And the Secretary of State, we need to know who told that sniper to stand down multiple times. And currently, no one's taking responsibility for it except for the sniper, who says he called his higher ups, and they apparently called the State Department. So I personally would like to see that answered.
I know that you were poised to put him in the hot seat today for a grilling. It is being reported that instead of being there on Capitol Hill, he'll be at the UN General Assembly in New York City. So we'll be watching and waiting. Congressman Tim Burchett, thank you so much, as always, for being here. Appreciate it.
Ma'am, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.